Hello and welcome to Piano with Georgia. I'm Georgia, and in today's lesson, I'm going to talk about traditional music notation, also known as the music staff. We will go over how to decode what you see there so you can pick up a piece of music and solve the puzzle of how to play it. So hop on your bench or chair and let's get started. The most basic thing to notice about the way music has been written for centuries is that there are 5 lines. There are also 4 spaces between these lines. Every single key on the piano has a specific location on these lines and spaces, so composers can communicate to players what keys to press in what order to create the songs that they invent. Just a wee bit of history. Long ago, a composer's music was passed to others by singing, so by ear. Usually, choir directors would do a sort of call and response, where they would sing a part to the choir, then the choir would sing it back. One day, a guy came along who wanted to communicate without having to sing to his people. His name was Guido de Arezzo, and his system was to hold up his hand, then point to either a finger or the space in between the fingers. If he went higher, that meant the sounds were also going higher. If he went from one finger to the space in between, that was a step, just like the steps we talked about on the piano. He could leap from space to space, finger to finger, zigzag, and so forth to communicate his melodies. Well, this 5-fingered hand gradually became what is today our 5-line staff. You'll notice that just like Guido, we have lines and we also have the spaces between the lines. We can draw notes on the lines and in the spaces. And as we do this, we create a written song. The staff actually works exactly like the piano keyboard if your piano keyboard went up and down. So this may seem like the same concepts we went over way back when we talked about names of the keys on the piano. The first connection to make between your staff and the piano is direction. If we go from line to line to space, we have steps. This would be how we would write down how to go from one key to the next on the piano. If we go higher or up, we imitate that direction on the piano. Remember how we called going to the right, going higher, or going up? It's the same motion. So if you see a series of notes on the staff like this, you would play those notes on the piano like this. Start, step up, step up, step up, step up. If you see notes on your staff like this, you would play this. Start, step down, step down, step down, step down. We can also draw all line notes. Since we've skipped the spaces, guess what? You also have to skip notes on the piano. Start, skip up, skip up. This same pattern of skips can also be made with all space notes where we skip the line notes. Start, skip up, skip up. You may have noticed that our steps sounded like a scale and our skips sounded like an arpeggio. Yes! You now know how to read a scale and an arpeggio if you saw one written. You may be asking, okay, ups and downs, steps and skips. I get that, but how do I know where to start? The next connection to make is the music alphabet. Just like every key on the piano has an alphabet letter name, every spot on the staff also has an alphabet letter name. And just like the piano, the alphabet goes in order, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If we go higher, the alphabet goes forward. If we go lower or down, the alphabet goes backwards. Connecting these patterns will help your eyes to start translating what you see on the lines and spaces into what your fingers are supposed to play on the piano keys. New vocabulary time. Music has what are called clefs to tell us information about finding the alphabet letters on the staff. Most instruments only use one clef, but the piano has so many notes and is played with both hands, so we use two clefs. The higher notes are located on what is called the treble clef, and the lower notes are located on what is called the bass clef. Together, they are called the grand staff. These two clefs may look like random artistic scribbles, but they are not. They are actually very fancy alphabet letters. Let's look at the treble clef first. This clef is also called the G clef because hidden inside is a plain old letter G. And here's the best part. The center of the part that makes the G circles the line on the staff that is where the note G lives. Anytime you see a note on that line, it is forever and ever a G. But wait, there's more. When you apply this to the piano, you can't just play any G you like on the piano. It is a specific G, the first G above middle C. Because this line is so close to the middle of our grand staff, it is frequently referred to as treble G because it matches the treble clef. Now, you could start on this line, knowing it is G, and you can figure out all the rest of the notes on the staff by going up or down your music alphabet. So we would have G, up to the space would be A, then up to the line, which is, yes, you already know, it's B. You could continue all the way up the staff. Then, if you want to go even higher, you could just add more little lines on top called ledger lines. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And you can keep going to the highest key on the piano. You can also go downward. You just go backward in the music alphabet as you do. So down from G would be F. Then E is the bottom line. Then D is the space below. Then we can also add a little extra line below to get to C. G, F, E, D, C. This is a very special C called middle C, as it is the dividing point between treble and bass clefs. Without even knowing anything about the bass clef, you could just keep going backwards in the music alphabet and figure out all the notes on the bass clef staff. But there's an easier way. The bass clef is also a hidden alphabet letter. It is a letter F in disguise. For those of you who know cursive, you'll immediately see the resemblance to a cursive letter F. However, the classic F is here too. You just have to play a little game of connect the dots. Ta-da! Guess what? The line that is in between our two dots is, drumroll please, an F. Not just any F either. This is the specific F on the piano that is right below middle C. It has a little nickname too, bass F. Just like the treble clef, you can now go upwards by alphabet letter or backwards by alphabet letter and decode the entire bass staff. A lot of people will ask me why the notes aren't in the same spots on bass clef and treble clef. And the answer is that the bass and treble staves work together as a continuum, just like the keys on the piano. The only reason there is a gap in between them is so that our eyes can keep track of what line or space we are on. If we have 10 lines in a row, I don't know about you, but I quickly lose track of what line I'm on. So, someone created the gap in between to help us out, even if it does cause a little confusion at the same time. Let's practice reading some things you already know how to play. I'm going to draw our G scale. I'll start on treble G, and then I'll go up by steps until I have 5 notes. We can label these by alphabet letter too. We have a G, an A, B, C, and D. Now that I've drawn them, I cannot just play my G scale anywhere on the piano. These notes are the specific G scale that is just above middle C. By the way, remember that your middle C on the piano or keyboard is always the one that's closest to the middle. Look for a group of black keys. Look for the group of 2 black keys nearest the center, and you'll find middle C. Let's play that specific G scale with our right hand. You'll notice that we read notes from left to right just as we would read words in a book. What if I wrote this? The first thing we have to do is translate what note the first one is, counting down from our line that we know is F. We have an E in the space, D on the next line, and down to the space where our note is C. So we start on C. Not just any C, the C that is lower than middle C, because it is lower on the staff. Then we can notice the shape to help us with the rest. Are they stepping or skipping? Well, they are all space notes, so they are skipping. This is how an arpeggio looks when it is written out. I'm going to draw a little finger number next to this note. Most music has little finger numbers to help you. Let's use left hand, finger 5, placed on C, and let's play skips. Start on C, skip up, skip up. You have just read music. If today was your first day ever reading notes on the staff, congratulations! This is a moment when your musical life will be forever changed. If it's just a little review, I hope that the memories are flowing back. Everything about the piano and written music is all based on patterns. It's fun to start decoding them and playing songs. As you pull up music, you may see some sharps and flats hanging out on the staff. We will go in depth on that in the next lesson. Now go forth and experiment with reading notes on any music you can get your eyes on. If you see more complicated rhythms than we discussed in lesson 11, don't worry, just focus on the notes and we will get to more advanced rhythms soon. as you first start playing from the music staff. Be patient. You will have to do a lot of calculating, which takes a lot of time. I can promise you this. The more you see the same notes in the same spots and you figure out their alphabet names, the more you will start to just know them without having to calculate. There are tons of little tricks out there to help you, like creating acronyms for the line notes or space notes. Flashcards are great, and there are also some wonderful apps out there that quiz you in a fun way. My personal favorite is called Staffwars. Another good one is called Tenuto. You can configure the settings in both of these apps to make things easier or harder. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Please like, subscribe, and keep the comments coming. You are the reason I'm here.